This program is perhaps stands out among initiatives involving First Nations in that the focus is on the strengths of the community and what the community can bring positively into thinking about how to further the well-being of young children and their families. The program is initiated by the First Nations community, and all aspects of delivering the program require community commitment and community initiative.
Community development involves developing our people towards self-reliance and self-sustaining, self-sufficiency. So through the human resource strategy, it's kind of like our blueprint on where we're going in the community. Another area that is included in our long-term planning is the building of the multiplex here where we are.
Within the multiplex is the daycare, which is badly needed for young mothers to complete their high school, and also an important part of all the employment and training programs that we've been accessing for on the reserve.
All right.
And this is the infant, 12 infant. I thought it was 20, not 25.
Yeah.
20. Oh, did you?
I'd like to work in the new daycare for a while, and then maybe go on to my 3rd and 4th as a child development worker.
I'm already thinking of applying for a job here next year. I don't know what my husband's plans are as to moving home to Naquaqua, but if I can apply for a job, I will.
I like taking care of the babies. I'd like to work with special needs too.
All the positions within the Ministry of Children and Families, including child protection, are open to bachelors of child and youth care. So a BA in CYC will allow you to do child protection and any other frontline work with children and families.
I worked before as a coordinator for Elizabeth Fry Society, and I know there's no support here for our young people. I'd like to go that way.
It's good for us to know where your focus is, and also to hear how many of you are interested in the daycare in 3rd and 4th year. And you know, that's the issue about 3rd and 4th year is a discussion that I think will be ongoing this year, throughout this year, between you and your community and us and representatives of your community. First Nations communities have been offered a lot of early childhood education programs that assume that there's universal agreement on what it is that early childhood educators should do. And when the training program takes place in this generative way and in the community and with the involvement of community elders, the whole community is able to think it through what the desired outcomes are for child development and how they want to raise their children their own way. And some of those will overlap with mainstream provided ideas, and some of them will be unique to that community, and some will be syncretic and a blending of ideas from different traditions.
The Cowichan tribes had actually made it really clear that they wanted the Cowichan campus to be involved, because I assume it's because it was on tribes land, and that they saw that this was a very convenient place for their members to come.
We had to learn. I think no one should go into this kind of program without realizing that they have to learn to listen a little differently than they may have listened in other kinds of program development. And our experience with the Cowichan tribes was an extremely positive one, but it was a challenge for us to, as it was for UVic, to realize that this was not our project. As educators, we're much more comfortable going in and telling people what they need. And so it was a challenge for us to truly hear what the First Nations people wanted, what was important to them, and to do it in a way which could still interface with the academic world.
It had never been done before, and we were, I think, thinking back, we were all really careful about how we should proceed, not to kind of overstep our bounds, and it was a consensus decision-making. You don't often find that at a university or a college, and remembering that we're benefiting students and communities, not just First Nations communities, but the greater community as well.
My own personal belief is that it's all about relationship, it's not about structure. I mean, the reason it worked was because of that relationship of trust. It wasn't our structures or our procedures or our policies or our senates or education councils that made it happen. I think it was the relationships that we established. And an education institution should assess that relationship and the potential to build that relationship with their partners.
When I was in early childhood education or child and youth care, we learned how to develop programs, how to connect with individual children, youth, or families on one-to-one. And that's what I do here. I do a lot of individual one-to-one connections with the students. I use a lot of the communication skills that I learned within the program. And so this program, really, when I think about it, it supports my life. That's all I can say, is because I view it as a life skills program. It's 4 years of life skills learning, both personal, professional, integrating both of them. So the more I develop personally, the more professionally I was more effective and efficient and doing the work that I always wanted to do.
No fish? I think we need more men in child and youth care because, there's a lot of young boys in there that want to look up to men to show them our culture. And a lot of the young kids that I see on the street, they knew that I work in a probation office, and a lot of them that I see on the street, they call me Mr. Joe. Nobody ever calls me Mr. Joe except for the clients that I see walking around, and that kind of makes me feel a little good inside to have these young kids respect me in a way. Our way of life has kind of changed quite a bit now that we have to start taking some kind of responsibility for some of our youth and our children. And I think most of our lives, the women usually did that. And they're the ones that talked to the children, and the men were there to discipline them, but the women were the ones that were, talking to them all the time.
I think one of the biggest effects too is that our people look at this place as an extended family. Everybody's related. Everybody looks after each other. There's a huge love going around in a circle, big circle. And there's no end to this type of support that we get here. And you feel it whether you're a student or a staff or a faculty or a speaker. A number of our elders have said they feel really at home when they come here because they're greeted in a special way, they're recognized.
You have the advantage of places where there's no concrete. You have the advantage of knowing the old people's voices continue to be there. And that's the gift that each of you carry. That's the gift and potential that each of you can work with. We at the university, of course, have been reminded of the need to recognize those very powerful gifts. This too is a sacred site. That's why it's important for you to be here at this time. That's why it's important for you to enter into a collaboration with the people from here. The old women in our territory, the old men in our territory always reminded us that even though you come through this system, even though you learn how to read and to write, that you can take those things and you can add it to all the great strengths of the people.
So we have essentially different perspectives coming into the curriculum for the students. Some is coming from the more typical Euro-Western, but there are also speakers from the community that the community identifies as having information that would be of value and use for the students. Those two come together, and they come together in a place that says there aren't any right answers here. There are a number of answers. There are a number of truths. There are a number of ways of looking at the world.
The elders were very helpful to us in being able to validate the traditional cultures and speak to the students about the ways that they were brought up and the experiences that they had with both parents being there, with a close-knit community being around them all the time. So the elders really brought a lot of respect, I think, to the program, and integrity to the program, as well as being able to validate, because using the curriculum through a generative approach, we didn't have any First Nation early childhood educators that were qualified to teach the program at that time. And they also needed the expertise and the advice of the elders to guide them in their work.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to CFDM 105.7 Flying Dust. This is me, Babes Droscher, coming to you live from the Flying Dust First Nation Administration Office. And once again, Health Committee meeting canceled, the Housing Committee meeting canceled, Soup and Bannock for tomorrow, Friday, 1 o'clock is canceled. And CFDM Radio Bingo on Sunday, September 13th has also been canceled until Sunday, September 20th. And all of these activities are postponed out of the respect for one of our elders passing on today.
A very key and important person with our work at Meadow Lake was Louis Apikaku. And he was the elder who was responsible for making contact with the other elders in appropriate ways and places to invite them to come speak to the students. And Louis died about 3 weeks ago. And this is one of the things I just like to read that Louis had contributed to one of the manuals that we. Today we have elders involved in most Meadow Lake Tribal Council programs. In the past, we seldom used elders. The child care program is where it all started. The best thing about elder involvement is that elders are not doing any of this for ourselves. We're trying to make things better for our children.
We've really seen clearly the importance of having an elder coordinator, somebody who facilitates bringing the cultural input into the curriculum, and also helping students to be receptive to learning from the elders, and to considering elders' words in juxtaposition to the Euro-Western concepts and ideas that they're reading about in their course materials that are provided by the university.
I grew up around elders, and I just never really, never really paid that much attention to them till as I got older and was in this course. It was like it brought me back to my childhood, and, you know, thinking how lucky I am right now, how lucky I was. Because I try bringing my culture too at the same time. Language is important too. I know I've heard the elders say that language is being lost. They're losing, young people are losing their language, and it's good to start them. Like I know that Flying Dust First Nation has started up kindergarten, nursery, and from there they started teaching the language at that age.
It was an experience, a great experience. I was never raised on the reserve. I was always in non-native homes. It was a great opportunity for me to learn from the elders. Child rearing, how it was, things I missed out on, what works and what doesn't work with children. And it just happened that they were opening up a position for daycare director on reserve. And I knew with the training that I had, I had to apply. I just had to. The things that I brought into the daycare from the experience I had in childcare, more confidence for myself to run the programs. Everything seems to fall into place because of the education that I had.
I believe all of our students that have gone through the course are working or have found some meaningful employment in their communities, or they're sitting in, they feel more confident in themselves, so they're taking an active role in their community development by sitting on committees, whether it's health and social or education or justice or whatever. And some of them are even leaders now. So the most outstanding thing for me has been the confidence that people have gained in themselves and their ability to be a valuable member of their community and in their children's lives as well.
Throughout all of the partnerships we've had, starting with Meadow Lake, one of the most important elements has been the personal transformations that students have experienced.
And I swear that I had no creative bones in my body, you know, until we started in a lot of our assignments and we were asked to look back in our childhood. What did we do? You know, and then I realized, yes, I was creative. This is a dream of mine that I've had 3 years ago, and it's going to become a reality. I am going to build a puppet theater with a group of youths, and I'm going to look at 13 to 17-year-old. I picked them because of the way their lifestyles were, and they talked about peer pressure. So I thought, well, okay, there's peer pressure. They talked about family violence. They had no direction, no positive thing that anybody said about them, and I thought, I'm going to change that. I am definitely going to change that. This is Marge, who's the mother of Eric, and Eric is a troubled one. Like, he's making a choice here at the age of 16, what life he's going, you know, what direction he's going to take. He knows what he done with Jack is wrong, and he knows he's in deep trouble if his parents find out. And at the same time, here's Bill saying, well, come with me to a sweat, or let's go talk to your grandparents or someone like that, and, you know, to help him straighten out his life. Each time I went to pick up the youth, I noticed the changes in their faces when they see me come into their homes. You know, their faces light up and their smiles, and I thought, wow, I'm really doing something here. And to have one of the youth say, this is going to be a good play. It's going to be a real good play when it's done. And I felt really good because that was my purpose, for them to give us something to challenge and something to complete, which we did. So I'm really proud of them, and I'm proud of myself also, because one of my dreams came true.
I really think that when I suggested that students need to follow their dream, follow their heart, that opportunity is there, and in whatever form they'll be caring for children and helping to build stronger communities.
I think there's a vast variety of opportunities for the students out there in a variety of the childcare fields. And I think even for a lot of the students, just the knowledge that they can take home to their own families. A lot of students have commented, you know, that they're applying this. You know, I went home today and tried this out with my children, and wow, it worked. It was great. You know, so they really start looking at, you know, their families and what they want for their children. And then they're expanding out to the community. As Joanne said, what are their dreams? And they're making those. We've given them enough exposure to a wide variety of childcare fields that I think they have the confidence and the self-esteem to go after those dreams. Hey, I have this knowledge and I can do this, you know, and they're believing in themselves.
When you nurture a child, you nurture a family. When you nurture a family, you nurture a community. And when you nurture a community, you nurture a nation. The students who are graduating here today have become nurturers of children. And as such, they are nurturers of families, of communities, and of nations. Their work is the most important work that anyone can do, for the world is reborn with the birth of every child. And if that child is loved and well cared for, so are we all.
I congratulate you, ladies. I congratulate you from my heart. You've struggled, you worked hard, and you made it to this day. This is about healing, and I'm proud of all of you ladies tonight. Take what you've learned, apply it to yourself, apply it to your children, but most and foremost, what I'm slowly now beginning to realize is feel it. Feel what you have learned and feel it within yourself and your heart and share that and show that with your family and your friends. And I congratulate all of you once again, plus the instructors that are here, the people that made this program, the education department, and everyone involved, because not one person can do all.